The downfall of a franchise player doesn't happen overnight. It builds in whispers, in side glances, in words spoken that should never leave the locker room. For the Chicago Sky, the whispers became headlines, and the side glances turned into outright division the moment Angel Reese, the supposed face of the future, decided to go to war with her own teammates. What unfolded was not just a spat in the press. It was a slow-motion implosion of a locker room, a team, and perhaps even a career. Angel Reese came into Chicago with the Sky Barbie brand stamped on her back. It's marketed as the centerpiece of a rebuild. A rebounding machine who would bring fire, attitude, and swagger to a franchise desperate for identity. But in 2025, that brand has curdled into controversy. Suspensions, technical fouls, and now, the ultimate betrayal. Public shots fired at the very teammates she was supposed to lead. It started with what seemed like a routine interview. A conversation about the Sky's future that turned into a scorched earth declaration. Reese looked straight past her own struggles and declared that Chicago needed better players, not just depth pieces, not just role players, better everything. "We can't settle for what we had this year," she told the Chicago Tribune. "We have to get great players. That's non-negotiable for me. We can't settle for this roster. Overhaul this roster." The words hit like shrapnel in the locker room because Reese wasn't vague. She wasn't general. She called people out by name. She questioned whether Rachel Bannum and Haley Van Lith could even contribute to a playoff-caliber team. She dismissed Courtney Vandersloot, a 5-time All-Star, as 2-time champion, and one of the greatest point guards in league history, as too old to rely on. In one interview, she took a torch to the foundation of the Chicago Sky, leaving teammates to pick through the ashes. The irony was rich and painful. Courtney Vandersloot, who guided the Sky to their only WNBA title in 2021 and immediately added another ring with New York in 2024, had chosen to come back to Chicago. She returned to steady the ship, to mentor, to prove her legacy still had room for more. And yet, her own teammate brushed her off as a liability. For Vandersloot, the message was clear: you're expendable. For the locker room, it was even louder: Angel Reese will throw you under the bus if it serves her. The ripple effects came fast. Ariel Atkins, acquired in a blockbuster deal with the Washington Mystics that cost the Sky the No. 3 overall pick, was stunned. She had just arrived, expected to help Reese shoulder the franchise weight. Instead, she walked straight into a storm. With reporters pressing her on Reese's comments, Atkins tried to take the high road. "Ownership handled it how they see fit," she said carefully. "They have full support from our team." It was the kind of answer that sounded diplomatic. But the frustration behind her eyes told another story. She had been in Chicago for weeks and was already cleaning up someone else's mess. Rachel Bannum didn't bother with diplomacy. "I just don't really care. I'm over all this," she said flatly. That wasn't indifference. That was exhaustion. The words of a veteran who's seen enough drama to last a lifetime. She wasn't about to carry the weight of another teammate's ego. And for Vandersloot, the target of Reese's sharpest words, the response was surgical. "Contrary to what people say or think, my age is not a factor," she said calmly. "I'm coming back. Better than ever." That's what leadership sounds like. No theatrics, no finger-pointing, just a reminder of proven excellence. Meanwhile, Angel Reese wasn't just talking. She was compounding the damage with her own performance. Leading the league in turnovers despite missing weeks of action, shooting under 40% from the field. Racking up technical fouls so quickly that the league suspended her automatically. Getting ejected for reckless fouls that smacked more of frustration than dominance. And when the Sky needed her most, a rivalry matchup against Caitlin Clark in the Indiana. Her 8th technical forced a 1-game suspension, robbing fans of the most anticipated showdown of the year. The Sky had no choice but to act. Citing conduct detrimental to the team, they suspended Reese themselves, sidelining her for the first half of a game against the Las Vegas Aces. The message was undeniable. Enough was enough. And here's the kicker. Instead of collapsing without her, the Sky looked better. The offense flowed. The ball moved. The turnovers dipped. Teammates who once deferred began to shine. For the front office, the question became unavoidable. Was Angel Reese the solution or the problem? Fans didn't need long to decide. Social media lit up with clips of the Sky's smoother offense without her. Analysts openly questioned whether Chicago should cut ties altogether. At this point, it's over. That whole Sky Barbie thing is done, one voice declared. She's not worth the headache. The harshest critics argued Reese should leave the WNBA entirely, find her way to the unrivaled league, and stop dragging franchises into dysfunction. And yet, Reese's defenders rushed in. They filled comment sections with venom, lashing out at Vandersloot, calling her washed, calling her worse. The irony was almost too thick. Here was Angel Reese mocking a two-time champion and assist queen, while her own fan base slung insults at a legend who has achieved everything Reese claims to want. In the comparison, Reese came out small, petty, immature, reckless. Vandersloot came out poised, respected Uinbada. Inside the Sky, the fallout was even uglier. Reports leaked of a players-only meeting, one that quickly turned into a referendum on Angel Reese. The question wasn't just about her comments anymore. It was about her commitment. Her so-called back injury had already kept her off the floor, but teammates noticed she wasn't even traveling with them. When Caitlin Clark was sidelined earlier in the season, she was glued to the bench, coaching, clapping, urging her team on. Reese, she wasn't in the building. The absence spoke louder than any words. The divide became obvious on the court. Every time Reese sat, the Sky looked freer. Every time she returned, the tension resurfaced. Players who once shielded her from criticism stopped defending her. Coaches stopped bending over backward to excuse her. And slowly, the franchise began to see a future without her. Meanwhile, just a few hours down the road in Indiana, Caitlin Clark was building something entirely different. She wasn't tearing down teammates. She was lifting them up. She wasn't demanding roster overhauls. She was squeezing every ounce of potential from the roster she had. She celebrated Kelsey Mitchell's hot hands, trusted Aaliyah Boston in the post, and hyped Lexi Hull's threes like they were daggers in a championship game. Even when she was too banged up to play, Clark sat on the sideline, calling sets, directing traffic, clapping through every possession. That's leadership. That's BN. And that's why Fever games are sold out, why jerseys fly off the shelves, why fans gravitate toward Clark and not Reese. The league has tried to frame them as rivals. The truth couldn't be clearer. One is chaos. The other is cohesion. One tears down. The other builds up. And the future of the WNBA will be shaped by which example the next generation chooses to follow. For Chicago, the decision looms. Keep a talented rebounder whose ego outweighs her impact, or cut ties before the damage becomes permanent. For Angel Reese, the warning is even harsher. Respect in this league is earned, not manufactured. Legacy is built in sweat, sacrifice, and unity, not interviews and finger-pointing. Vandersloot proved it. Clark is proving it. And if Reese doesn't change course, she may discover the harshest truth of all. The WNBA can and will move on without her. Because at the end of the day, the cracks in the mirror Reese kept pointing to weren't her teammates. They were her own reflection. So what do you think? Should the Chicago Sky move on from Angel Reese and finally end the experiment? Or is there still time for her to turn things around? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get this debate going. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest stories shaping the WNBA.